Firstly, I just want to say that I'm obviously a bit disappointed in the decision from the club. I sort of saw it coming in some ways, but I've been disappointed with what I see as a total lack of support since the event happened. And contrary to what a lot of people have written and said, it was my first time with the Brisbane Roar under contract. I still apologise for that. I've always done that, and still am deeply sort of sorry and embarrassed about the whole situation. But I think that since it happened, that the support or lack of support from the club has been, in a word, disappointing. In some ways, I wish I was the coach of the Nova football team. I probably would have received a bit more support there. In saying that, the club has made a decision, and I think when I met the board, I could see pretty much 5 minutes into the meeting that a decision was going to be made, which was not exactly in my favour. And I was a bit disappointed after that. But 2 years ago, as I said, I re-signed a contract which was in good faith, and they were desperate to keep me, and I was desperate to stay at the club. And knowing that things have gone the way they have, it's a bit disappointing. But that's life. And when I say that things have turned out this way, it is disappointing. And I thought that there is a duty of care for all employees. Obviously, on this occasion, I feel I've been made a scapegoat in terms of the club. As much as it is, I've done the wrong thing. But the lack of support, there are processes that you can go through. None of those processes were even tried, I thought. The possibility of fine, suspension, whatever. And that was what was most disappointing. And, it's come to this. And when you look at it, I think every Australian, possibly even people standing here, if you'd done what I'd done and you get sacked for that, I think it's a little bit unfair. Again, in saying that, we tried to work out some amicable way to do things. I have 16 months left on my contract. I wasn't talking about the whole lot of my contract, but what I thought would be fair with the service I've given to the club. And, for the club in particular to almost apportion all the blame on me as to where the club is at the moment, which I still believe the football team's in good shape. But the criticism, I think, has been unfair. And it's almost like it's the fault of Frank Farina, and that I was leading the club. I was leading the football team, and I think that's an indictment on the club. The direction and the leadership, I think, has been or could have been better. But in my situation, I feel a bit hard done by that. A lot of that blame has been apportioned to me. And, the reports in the media, whether it be print, television, I think I've got more coverage than a murderer, which is a bit hard to swallow for not only me and the family. But, I did say that I'd take any punishment that was handed down. But, I thought that it could have been handled a lot better than it has been. As I said, there's been no correspondence from the club. And I'm not trying to get away from the situation. I think I've explained it numerous times. But I felt that, as an organisation, if you want to instill, pride, loyalty, and strength, you've got to show support for people. For me, there's been a total lack of support. And, it was almost a situation where I was offered something basically to go away and be quiet. And gone from being, we want you to take us to the title, to please just go away and be quiet. And all I want is something that's fair. And, we try and look at it. Things have been blamed on the, poor performances or crowds at Suncorp Stadium. At the beginning, when I think of this season, when the FFA were looking at coming into the club, I think it would have been a great thing for the club itself. But the board and the club decided to go it alone. And, in that period, full well knowing that the Gold Coast were coming in, a new team on our doorstep, the FFA instructed the club to up its prices for members. When you up the prices for members, you have to up the prices for general admission. So with those two factors into account, I think that largely dictates what crowd you're going to get. And to be blaming it on myself, who leads the team, and the team, I think is a bit harsh. There are a lot of internal problems within the club. I'm not going to go into those at the moment, or maybe never. But there are issues, and I hope the club sorts it out, because they have a good team. I believe can still win the premiership if they get everyone back on the park. Unfortunately, that will be without me, and I just hope that we can come to an amicable agreement and settlement, and we move on with our lives. But for me personally, sorry to be long-winded, but this is my life, and most probably not going to get a job in the National League in the next year or 2 years. So I just want to come out of this as best I can.
Do you think it's heading for the courts?
I hope not. I think both parties can settle this in a decent and proper manner.
Obviously, Frank, what they've offered you is nowhere near what you consider fair and just.
No, I think as I said, the contract was signed in good faith by both parties, and I believe the settlement should be better than what it was.